Hello, it's your boy, and we're back to talking about some Danganronpa nonsense, honestly. Well, not really nonsense, because this is something I would actually want to see happen, but still, nonetheless, Danganronpa, 100%. So, when it comes down to things, I have been seeing this game called Cowardice. Obviously, I haven't talked about it yet, need to talk about it, but just haven't. And when it comes down to things, I've also been seeing videos of people saying, oh, what they would want in the next Danganronpa game. But the one major consensus is that I've been seeing, at least in a lot of circles, has been that Danganronpa needs to reboot. No, I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you, because rebooting is some bitch shit. So when it comes down to things, this video is basically me explaining in greater detail a previous video I made about Danganronpa 4 and what I would want to see in said game, honestly. No rebooting, because again, it's not necessarily the best thing in my personal opinion. I think there's a way you can actually shift this around if you possibly can. Danganronpa is a majestic game, a game for ladies and men, and a game is full of pink blood and murder and also sexy times. If we're being perfectly honest, I don't like the idea of Danganronpa being rebooted, mainly because it's a coward's way out. Writing, like, okay, I have a deep appreciation for good narrative writing. I like narrative writing. That's why I wanted to create the Cowardice story, because it's a narrative and I wanted to try at least my hand at it, even if it's not that great. But still, nonetheless, I just like good storytelling. And when it comes down to things, rebooting is the coward's way out. Because guess what? You're gonna have to get rid of everything that happened back in the day. Literally all the memories of every single character that you've written is literally not meaning of anything. All the struggles, all the deaths, all the literal character development doesn't mean jack shit when you reboot. And then anytime we see current day reboots, they're either shitty or they're either not so great as they once were. And we've seen that with plenty of different games throughout the years. And for Danganronpa, I'd rather not see a reboot, honestly, if I'm being perfectly honest. Also, you're not gonna have me care about all these characters from all these previous games just for you to go out of your way to throw them away like it's trash. I'm not down with that. Here is the idea of what I would want for Danganronpa 4. We go with what we already have. And we have a like a little retcon of what happens in V3 at the end of things, to kind of finally get an answer about what happens if the reality is real or if it's not real. So, before Tsumugi ends up getting yeeted by this giant boulder, she makes one last change with her talented ability. She makes one last alteration between the world that is real and the world that is fake. That is, she makes Danganronpa a real game, like a real life scenario that actually happens, with everything that, you know, kind of happens in that actual story, you know? So that's what exactly just goes down. So when Shuichi, Maki, and Himiko kind of leaves, they kind of gets put back into the same damn world they tried to leave. Except this time, the world obviously knows that Danganronpa is a, you know, killing game. It's a fictional game that existed for just entertainment purposes. And this time, when it comes down to things, people are still bored of Danganronpa. No one has seen Danganronpa or heard about it or anything like that for many years. No one ever even thinks about the killing game ever again. Many years later, a little static TV comes on, and guess what? The game kinda starts to come back in some shape and form. You start seeing these small cult mass followings of this game, really reminiscing about the times of their favorite character when they was put into these games and whatever, and really just kind of start having this small cult following over the years. So much so to the point that there is a unknown sponsor who ends up creating a real life Hope's Peak, and not this time, it's not going to be an academy, it's going to be Hope's Peak City. That's right, it's an academic city full of ultimate talents. Let's just keep rolling with that, please. I know it's been done a few times with the city aspect, but I like the idea of a city aspect. And this time, when it comes to the killing game and everything that has to go down with Hope's Peak, this time, the city is kind of gonna be like V3, where it's kind of like in this kind of dome type of place, and really the outside world is basically normal, but still it's gonna have, like, you know, Hope's Peak in this dome facility type of place, you know. At least that's what I would imagine. But who is the headmaster, you probably would say? Who is actually helping running this city? Well, it would be best to have it with someone that we already know, which I would say the headmaster should be Makoto Naegi. Now, you're probably wondering, wait, what does this mean about every other character? Well, glad that you asked, because every other character now is alive again, due to the game being, fake and whatever it was in V3. Every character is back, but just not exactly back in the way that they should be. Obviously, as we go through this new game, we'll have a new main character. We get to follow his or her story. Personally, I want it to be a her because we need an actual female protagonist that's not a regular high school girl. So let's have that. And when it comes down to things, we follow her, kind of just go through her daily life, doing the normal things of a high school student. Actually go through a full day of nothing happening except going to her actual class and, all that type of stuff. And then Monokuma appears, but not as a bear, but as some type of rabbit hybrid bear type of thing. Honestly, I feel like that would be kind of cool. Let's not make it exactly the same as it once was, but change it in a way. And this time, just like Danganronpa 1, Makoto is instead the one that gets killed, like the headmaster. Yes, kill Makoto. I want to see it. So when it comes down to things, now we have this rabbit bunny thing, or bear, whatever the hell you want to make it, but just make it part rabbit. And basically, it's running the damn show, the school, and now we're going to start getting to certain aspects of the killing game, and certain things are going to start happening. It's kind of a lot to kind of think about, but that's kind of the general premise of how things would kind of start out and go. Later on, you'll also see different cameos of different students, which is actually just students from previous games, or different people just in general that might be just existing in the background that we have seen before. Like, Shiaki and Kaede, because she's not dead this doggone time. So when it comes down to things, we get to see like different characters from the previous games kind of doing different things, whether they're working for the school or they're just kind of doing their own thing, honestly. And really, I would have like maybe a new version of Future Foundation, like have a new version of Future Foundation, except obviously it is ran by Kyoko, and Hajime is in it, Shiaki is in it, and have like a few other people that's within Future Foundation, and they're secretly running the school, or supposed to be running the school, or something like that. You can have it to be like that. And obviously, when Monokuma gets back into the, fold of things, obviously, they're trying to figure out what's going on, and kind of make it like a Dangan 3 situation, except this time, they're going to be kind of ready for it, and still get their ass whooped in some shape and form. Also, personally, instead of 16 students that we handle with this time, while we'll still have that same 16 student type of thing, this time, because it's a city, we're going to have a whole bunch of other ultimates that kind of come through, and they're going to be a part of the killing game as well. Not in the correct way though, but they'll have their own moments in it that would make them a part of the killing game in some shape or form. Maybe side quests with them, I don't know, kind of like how Code Rain is going to be in some shape and form. Again, we gotta figure out how that would work, but still, I feel like that would be kind of cool. And this time, every single person that is within your, class that you are dealing with, your 16 students within this killing game, because this will be the main representative of the killing game, honestly, your 16 student class. And everybody has an ultimate, everybody knows what their ultimate talent is, except for one person. Except they know what it is, but they're gonna keep it hidden. Kind of like how Junko keeps her ultimate despair talent hidden and use like the ultimate fashionista thing. Even though Monokuma is running the game, and you might think, okay, so Monokuma's running the game, that means Junko's gonna be the main bad guy. No. While she is gonna be a bad person, obviously, and she will come back, by the way, and she will try to act like she's running the game, this time, she doesn't run the game. This time, she's actually involved in this. Because the Monokuma that is actually taking over is not her Monokuma. It's actually someone else's. Whoever the hell that someone else's could be. And when it comes down to things, when it comes to the 16 students and their ultimate talents and stuff, this time she want to really put their talents on display and try just to make things kind of seem a bit, interesting, honestly. Like, the Monokuma will work for her, but it doesn't really work for her, if that makes any sense. So when it comes down to things, every time that she kind of looks around, honestly, when it comes to the 16 students, and anytime that they try to, and one of the students that will talk to one of the people with a hidden talent, will talk to that person and things will kind of happen, and then when they try to put their talent on display, for whatever reason, they cannot perform that talent. For whatever reason. And so this catches Junko's attention very badly, because this is like, okay, what the hell is actually going on here? So this time, instead of Junko being the mastermind, have Junko actually join the killing game and figures out what the hell is actually going on. This time she's among the 16 students. This time she's the 17th student. So there will be 17 overall, including Junko herself. Just because she wants to find out what the hell is going on with this whole nonsense of the talents not working and everything. And that's obviously when you start to figure out that someone has the ability to erase talents. Yes, that is honestly something I would desperately love to see. The ability to erase talents from other people. The ultimate talents to get rid of all talents. That would be honestly a really cool premise, if I'm being perfectly honest. So basically, you spend kind of the whole game trying to figure out who is erasing all the talents. While the murders are still happening, you basically try to figure out who is erasing all the talents, because their talents will be incorporated into the murders of, you know, the game, or maybe some other way. I don't necessarily know, again, how everything will play out, but that's kind of the general premise of what I would want to see happen. And this time, while Junko is, you know, a part of the 17 students, this time, instead of her just kind of, you know, lingering on in the background, not being really doing much and stuff, this time she's actively involved because she wants to find out who the hell is ruining her game. And that's essentially it. And that's when she also finds out, because she enters the game, she's also pretty much being a pawn in whoever is controlling Monokuma at the end of all things. And kind of like how Shinigami is in Code Rain with Yuma, I would honestly like to make Junko, I guess, your buddy in all this stuff. Yeah, it's kind of weird, but at the same time will be also very interesting. And Junko this time, while she is still about that despair dick, she is also going to be basically not really killing anybody. While she wants to kill some people, while she absolutely wants to, she's not going to this time, because obviously she knows what happens if she, you know, yeet someone off. She'll never figure out who actively is ruining her game. And so basically the whole thing is just you and Junko kind of just going around becoming detectives out here, trying to figure out who is erasing all the talents and how these murders are still going on while playing the killing game, you know? That's basically the whole thing. And when it comes down to things, obviously the main person, whoever it's going to be, boy or girl, they're going to basically come out their way and basically say at the end of the game in all of this, just to be like, I don't want any of this Danganronpa stuff anymore. I don't want it at all, which is why I'm going to erase every last talent on the face of the planet. There is no reason for Hope's Peak to be existing. Hope's Peak has caused way too much pain and way too much nonsense, so that's why I'm going to get rid of all talents. And basically, just be as OP, like the erasure talent will be just as OP as Izuru's talent of just controlling everything. Essentially, if it's done well enough with the erasure talent, you can erase even Izuru's power. Let's just be perfectly honest. It's kind of like if we gave someone else Samugi's power, except this time they're just going to completely erase Danganronpa, because why the hell not? I don't know what the motive of this would be. Maybe someone lost their family member in like one of the killing games and they knew about it, and that's essentially why they kind of went through with everything. Hopefully that's not the reason, because that's kind of crap of a reason, but it would make sense. And maybe at some point in the game, maybe, you know, Junko has ideas or visions of the past realities of what's supposed to have happened, and maybe have some of those older characters to kind of come through and just kind of be evil, you know? Maybe we could have like that evil Shiaki character that I kind of always wanted to see. Maybe we'll have that evil Akane smart version of her character. Who knows? We have altered versions of the different characters that kind of exist, because I like altered versions, and you know, that could be literally what could happen. But overall, the erasing of talents would be something I would desperately like to see in Danganronpa 4, and personally it's better than just having a reboot, because now everybody is still alive, everybody is still kind of, you know, dealing with having their basically everything is still the same, except it's not the same exactly, you know. And this time the whole tragedy of the world hasn't happened, or at least the world has recovered and it's not happening anymore. And if they don't solve the mystery of what's going on with this game, then it will happen again, and basically Danganronpa kind of starts all over again, except in a very different way this time, with maybe someone else coming as the mastermind or whatever. And if hell, maybe you don't want to have the guy that erases all talent to be the mastermind of everything. Maybe you want someone else to be coming through who is teaming up with that person to be the mastermind of everything. So, you know, again, there's ways to do this without a reboot. I don't want to see a reboot personally, but these are just some of the major ways of how I would continue Danganronpa without the necessarily cop out of a reboot. And personally, this is stuff I would like to see. I can only hope and pray that this actually kind of happens, that we don't get rebooted, because again, I just don't want to lose everything that we just lost over the past couple of years of this game in existence, literally just because of a narrative thing. If you can write it well, it can happen. I guarantee you some people will be interested in this idea of this game. That's all I gotta say. That's personal, all I gotta say. But anyway, that's and also I wanted to challenge, I'm not necessarily gonna lie, Weeby News' idea of a reboot. I really wanted to, because again, no, I'm not taking that reboot idea. I don't want it. So when it comes down to things, that's pretty much all my ideas is for Danganronpa 4. At least that's something I would like to see. So what do you guys think? Do you think that's a good idea to have, you know, the killing game kind of go on, to have Junko as your buddy to kind of figure things out? Maybe Mukuro comes through in some shape and form, possibly work against Junko and kind of be smarter against Junko this time around, and not necessarily be related to her or whatever, and possibly have better moments than what she did in Dangan 1. Who knows? This is just, again, just something off the top of my head. So again, we'll have to see. But anyway, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. Let me know in the comments below what you think. And also like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification ringouts. Also follow me on Twitter, and if you'd like to donate to the channel, Patreon's available as well. And until then, it's your boy Jay, signing off. Have a blessed day.